Yo, XX family, what's the deal, man? Welcome back to another video. So a lot of y'all may know me from pretty much I reacted to one of the chairmen in IML pretty much exposing that none of them niggas know how to actually fucking trade and none of them do trade. They make all their money from recruiting, right? So at the time, I believe this was April. There was also another guy named AlwaysMarco, who was basically exposing these niggas too. The only difference between me and him is I made a reaction to a nigga making himself look stupid and exposing his own self. AlwaysMarco was like researching niggas' lives, fucking finding niggas' family members and addresses and all this extra goofy ass shit. So I guess they sued him or some shit. Pretty much, I ain't heard from this nigga in months, nigga. You know what I mean? I haven't heard a word from this nigga. So, I guess now maybe it's over with. He's back making videos, little short videos and shit, but he did release this, and that's something I wanted to watch. I haven't watched any of it. I just clicked on it because I was like, damn, this nigga's making videos again. But yeah, so I just woke up type shit. Not just woke up. I just got done trading, right? You know what I'm saying? GJ acting a fool right now as usual. But yeah, I'm about to just watch this video, kick back and relax, eat my food. This shit is an hour long, so hour 40 minutes long. So y'all niggas sit back and relax, man, and let's jump into it real quick.
If you want to sell online, make
your view
e-commerce and
The mission is to get you to
see what they
believe
talking about, man.
this is a mind-controlling cult movement. They try to go for your soul. They're looking to capture your soul because they want you. They want all of you, your whole soul, and they will take everything you've got if they can.
In this video, I'm joined by MLM expert Robert Fitzpatrick. He's the author of Ponzinomics, and you've seen him featured in movies like Betting on Zero, BBC's InstaTraders, and the new Amazon Prime series Lula Rich, which is streaming right now. I'm going to be giving away a copy of Ponzinomics to one of you. All you have to do to enter is comment right now which MLM you hate the most. And now my conversation with Robert Fitzpatrick. I hope you like it. Robert, thank you for being with me. You are the world's foremost expert on multi-level marketing. I think that's fair to say. Is that fair to say?
Well, I've been at it probably almost longer than anyone else. I've had a broad base of experience, both some personal exposure to pyramid scheme, but through my website, Pyramid Scheme Alert, which has been up 20 years. I've had contact with people all over the world about it. I've testified in 35 or been served as a consultant or a witness, 35 court cases, talked to the media all over the world. Best of all, I'm not a journalist, so I've never been restrained, nor am I an academic. So I'm not limited by, sociology or marketing. I'm also not limited by the rules of journalism, which sort of is about storytelling. So it's given me a kind of freedom to examine and go where most people don't go.
Right. Now, you came out with a book this year. It's this book right here, Ponzinomics. I have my copy right here, which is all bookmarked and written on and whatnot.
That's great.
But this book, Ponzinomics, this is, in my opinion, this is the only book of its kind that goes over the entire history of MLM, as well as the past, present, and potential future of this industry. Tell us about just that title, Ponzinomics. Where did you come up with this title? This is called Ponzinomics, the Untold Story of Multi-Level Marketing. Tell us a bit about the background background of this book?
Well, to start with, the Untold story, which is the sort of the subtitle of it, in a way is the most important part. Multi-level marketing operates in disguise. Most people think of it as a business. They think of it as a direct selling business, and they often associate it with particular products. But underneath all of that is something altogether different. What I found in all these years of working in this area,
I'm not gonna hold y'all. This is giving school vibes, and I don't know if I can sit an hour and 40 minutes through this shit, but we gonna see what happens by the time I finish this food.
what trips people up, what lures people into the trap, what confuses them once they're in and often keeps them in there, is they just don't recognize what MLM is actually. That was the motive for writing the book, because I had constantly encountered this question and this reality that the person trapped in it, the person inquiring about, including journalists, don't know how to identify it. It hasn't been defined. Ponzinomics is, of course, a made-up term. I made it up because I wanted to get to two elements, key elements of it. One is the element of the Ponzi scheme system.
What is happening on the cover of the book here?
It's over a 500-year-old painting by Hieronymus Bosch, and it's a con artist on a street with a cup and ball game. And there's a little group standing around looking at this, and a man dressed in expensive clothing has been lured over to the table. He has money. He's bent over looking, trying to figure it out and beat the guy that's running the scheme. And while he's doing that, a kid, probably a cohort, an associate of the guy running the game, is picking his pocket.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, there are many, many other symbols. Bosch was a medieval painter, and there are many symbols because they used a lot of symbolism. It's called the conjurer, by the way. So, and that's apt, I thought, for multi-level. They lure you over, they kind of cast a spell, and there you are, transfixed. And while you were trying to pursue this income opportunity, your pocket is being picked with purchases, product
Yo, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. I never looked at it.
purchases, motivation tapes, books you're supposed to read, and meetings you're supposed to attend. So I thought it was a good symbolic representation of MLM.
Well, shout out to Mr. Bosch. I'll be sure to put a link to his YouTube channel in the description of this video as well. I just wanted to say something about the book first before we break down all of the different elements you talked about. This school of thought, it's a way of life. One thing I wanted to say about the book is I suck at reading books, and it's always tough for me to stay engaged with books. But this book, I couldn't stop reading. There was so many moments. I want to ask you about something that you talked about briefly in the book. Your introduction in your own life to the world of Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, was something called the airplane game, right? Can you tell us about that?
Right. So the airplane game is today that type of scheme. Remember, there are no originals of these things. They're always copies of something else. That genre of pyramid scheme is today called gifting schemes. The reason it's called a gifting scheme is there's no product. Instead of my getting you into my scheme by getting you to buy my anti-aging cream, I tell you basically the same story, that the scheme is going to make you wealthy, that's an endless chain, it goes on forever, it doesn't require a lot of money to get into it, you do it in your spare time, you start with friends and relatives and so on. The gifting scheme has the same basic lure, but its story is not that it's direct selling. It's that it's a system of sharing wealth in which people give and receive. So I'm not recruiting you. I'm offering you the chance to give me money. I'm not getting your money for having recruited you. I'm receiving your gift and sharing this bounteous program. The main thing that I got from it, though, that has served me so well in being able to deal with multi-level marketing is I felt, experienced, tasted, and witnessed the ecstasy of the endless chain income promise. I felt it. I was there. I saw the mania. I saw it in groups of people I knew. I saw people go mad. I was part of it, but it completely distorted friends and family relationships. Some people went so crazy they neglected or quit jobs. People lost friends. Some people got divorced over it, and so on. So I saw it more as a socially disruptive force, but I saw the power of the endless chain promise and its capacity for fooling people into thinking that it's a real thing, that it could work. It's hard to understand it until you've seen it, felt it, at least witnessed it properly. And that's really where that was my introduction. And as a result of that, I just had to know more about it. What is a pyramid scheme? Where did it come from? How old are they? Who invented this thing? And what was that power that captivated us? I just had to know that.
Right.
That set me off on writing and researching. Now, multi-level marketing takes that, turns it into a business structure capable of sucking a person utterly dry financially, totally ruining them. And I've seen people lose their homes.
Yes. Yes. The worst sort of fates that can befall a person can be achieved through the pursuit of MLM, that's for sure. We're going to talk more about the brainwashing element and specifically Steve Hassan's BITE model and how it's employed by MLM groups a bit later on. But first, I wanted to talk about the key to opening someone's mind to the ideas that are presented in MLM, and it's this idea of thought stopping. Anything that can be done to subvert someone's rational, cognitive thought processes, stop them from thinking rationally about something and operate instead on emotion or alternative facts. In MLM, they will make it very clear to you, due diligence is for losers and doubters. And I did a video expose on a company called ACN last year, but in the presentation, the guy who was presenting to us basically said, well, sometimes people tell me that I went on Google and I looked up ACN and they said it was bad. And, Google is like a bathroom stall. Anyone can write anything. And so immediately trying to discredit any source of information outside of the company. And in this case, he was the representative of the company. You have a story where you did something that I have always wanted to do. And it's this idea of being in one of these presentations and standing up and saying, hey, everyone, this whole thing is a fraud. This whole thing is a scam. Everyone run for your lives. Get out. I've always wanted to do this. But unfortunately, I know enough about mob psychology to understand that once everyone is already invested, the likelihood that me standing up and presenting actual facts is going to change their mind and there's going to be this coup and we're all going to walk out is very unlikely. But you have a story, Robert, where you were in a presentation and this is the calculator story. Can you briefly explain what is the calculator story? What happened?
Yes. So I was working with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, and they were doing a piece on a multi-level marketing scheme that ultimately was...
Is that something I find so ironic is losers, haters, these are all things that both of us have been called for pointing out the fallacies in multi-level marketing companies. But the ironic thing is, both you and I are exactly what they claim to be while being painted as losers by them. For what I mean is, they claim to be independent business owners with financial freedom who can wake up without an alarm clock. This is inherently untrue. And then there's someone like you. You're an author. This is what you do for a job. Me, I'm a creator. This is what I do for a job. I imagine you also, as part of your publishing, own the rights to your material, your own business, perhaps. Me, I own my own business. I could wake up when I want to without an alarm clock, as they all love to include in their presentations. But yet, we're the losers. It's such an ironic thing, We're just hating because they make more money. Well, How come I'm not hating on everyone that, I mean, a lot of people make more money than me. I'm not hating on Madonna because she makes more money than me. I'm sure she does. How come I'm not picking on her instead, you know?
Well, the level of deception and irrationality in the MLM world, it's so extensive.
I ain't gonna lie, this is like bringing up old feelings, bro. Like, if you know me, you know, like, I cannot stand fucking IML, bro. Like, and this shit is just bringing back old shit that used to happen, bro. Like,
That, you know, you pull one thread out like that one, where they start calling people who ask questions
I'm about to get a bowl of
losers.
cereal.
When in fact, the one they're pointing to may personify what they claim they were trying to achieve: independence, freedom, and means of making a living on their own, and so on. And that's just one of so many other examples. The whole idea that you are even a business owner, this classic term, independent business owner, it's beyond irony. First of all, as we know, you're not independent. You've signed a contract with a single company. You are completely dependent on that company. And if you read that contract, it puts you literally in bondage. You can't even criticize the company, according to these contracts.
That's right.
You can't criticize the product. If you can't sue them. I mean, it goes on and on. So you're in bondage, the opposite of independence.
Yes.
You're not in business at all to begin with. 99% of the people.
Wait, what did he just say? Hold on. What was he saying about like contracts and shit?
You can't criticize.
Cause I always wonder, like, these niggas that be at the top, like the C100, C250s, like, nigga, if I was making that in a fucking month, nigga, I'm only there for so long until I bounce, nigga. Me personally, I could turn that into some way more than what these niggas can pay me. So
The product. If you can't sue them. I mean, it goes on and on. So you're in bondage, the opposite of independence.
Yes.
You're not in business at all to begin with. 99% of the people never earn a profit. So, you know, this isn't even really a business. And you're certainly an owner of nothing. Show what you own. You own nothing. Your franchise or whatever can be taken from you without cause like that. You don't own anything. So these terms, MLM is a sea of these things, and it literally turns people upside down. And as a consequence, they end up doing something like irrational, like pointing out somebody who is an independent business owner, who is offering evidence, hard evidence, backed by facts, and call that person, you know, negative, loser, cynic, anti-business.
Right. When the irony is I'm trying to help them, to push them towards not losing money, which is the opposite, you know, specifically in regards to independent business owner, or I'm my own boss. I have defined a couple characteristics of why this is blatantly untrue, and I've done debates on my YouTube channel with high-ranking members of certain MLM companies who believed that they would be the one to disprove my theories about the company being a pyramid scheme. And immediately in each of these, I've started out with, okay, do you believe that you are a business owner? Do you believe you're your own boss? And the answer is, of course. Well, yes, of course, I am. And so I point out, you are not in control of pricing. You're not in control of marketing. You're not in control of what you sell. And you can be terminated, which if you were the boss, you couldn't be terminated. Right. And so obviously you can imagine the conversation collapses and we go towards slander and insults and, you know, personal attacks because they can't rebut the claims. And those are the key points that I have identified as to why you are not a business owner, regardless of what the piece of paper you signed says, and regardless of what the people above you are telling you. You're a 1099 contractor. The same as a pizza delivery person is no more the owner of Pizza Hut than the person doing the dishes.
Yeah. You see, what we're talking about again here are elements of deception, elements of misidentification, elements of disguise that are capable of causing people to become almost crazy, to lose their way,
Literally.
and to show up as having been brainwashed,
Literally.
because they have been so thoroughly disarmed from their own critical faculties of thinking.
Niggas are dead ass become robots, bro. Like zombies, my nigga. Like, shit is crazy, my nigga. I'm getting interested in this shit, bro. Hold on now.
Thinking, objective thinking and reasoning for themselves. And it's very hard to step into any part of that and argue it, because they're not going to argue on facts. And that's why I concluded that the first thing to know about multi-level marketing is that it is a definable thing. It had a beginning. And once you go back and say, where did it come from? Then the madness that it has created, the crucible of deception that it is, the big lie that it is, can actually be more understandable at that point. How old is it? Who invented it? What kind of people invented it? And from there, then as the book proceeds, then how did it get to remain legal, and so on. Then the story can kind of become manageable at that point. But walking into the middle of it and pulling out one fact, or one element of it, very difficult, because you've stepped into this sea of irrationality.
That's right. This is flowing perfectly, because my next talking point was defining the big lie. And correct me if I'm wrong on my history here, but it is a concept that was invented by Adolf Hitler in pursuit of his leadership of Germany. And it was the idea that people don't believe little lies. People believe lies that are so large they seem almost inconceivable, because the idea that the lie is true is more digestible than the idea that someone would try to dupe people on such a large scale. Am I?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. The term was in Mein Kampf. Exactly what he was referring to is not so important, but the concept that he was identifying is important and has lived on, which is the concept of a lie. So colossal was the term he used. So colossal that very few people could imagine that anyone would have, as he coined it, the impudence to distort the truth so infamously.
With Vima, up until the day Vima was shut down for being a pyramid scheme, it was another legitimate multi-level marketing company. And the deflections I receive on this point are things like, oh, well, it's the bad apples argument. They did it the wrong way, or, the CEO was maybe doing some things with the money and he ruined it for everyone. But in actuality, this idea that pyramids are something where it's an exchange of money with no product or service, and MLMs are something where there's an optional recruiting aspect, but we sell products, and that's what makes it legal. It's not true. It's
factually untrue.
Yeah, there is no difference. There is no difference between a multi-level marketing company that is considered legitimate and an illegal pyramid scheme, except for the fact that the FTC or the Department of Justice or whichever governing body won't prosecute an MLM company for reasons tied to deep political ties, lobbying, what you call in the book, you have a chapter called boodling and bribing. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, of course. And you just said it too very well. Vima and others that have been prosecuted as pyramid schemes. Of course, they had products. I can't remember how long Vima operated, but several others that I am familiar with that were shut down had operated for years and had churned through hundreds of thousands of people as legitimate multi-level marketing companies. Some of them were members of the Direct Selling Association.
I remember in high school, niggas was trying to put me on the Vima, bro. Like, shit is crazy.
The statistics for people suffering losses, whether it be financial, interpersonal, emotional, the losses in MLM maintain a higher guaranteed rate, 99%, than probably even something like shootings. There's probably more people that get shot and survive than there are people that go join an MLM and don't. You get what I'm saying? And maintain, and don't lose their money. As a matter of fact, that is true. So think about that. You have something with a more fixed and secure and consistent failure rate than even the most blatant attempts at harming people, like shooting.
Well, again, as stripping MLM of its disguise, which is, it's hard to even get the language for this. Failure rate, even that, which I say all the time too, is not really quite correct, because the scheme is designed for you to fail. The scheme is based on failing. So the money you lose and become a failure is the revenue of the company. The profit that the company receives is from your losses, and the profit that the people who are the top distributors, recruiters, who are put forth as role models, their wealth comes from your loss too. It's not like there's a competitive market here. It's not that the swiftest win the race. This is a trap, a very calculated trap, very well designed, elegantly designed, integrated, disguised, that you've stepped into, and you will lose. So to document it as a failure rate does, in a way, mislead. And as I say, I use it too, but it is a misleading thing, because it's hard for people to grasp that they were lured in there to lose. That's the goal of the business. Mm-hmm. It has to be. And that is the business. And that's why I said, and I think I said this in the book somewhere, that the commodity of MLM is you and your losses. That's what's being churned and used, and that's the fuel, that's the commodity. The product, the anti-aging cream, whatever, the travel service and all, that's just fluff in disguise. That's just props, that's the smoke machine.
I've said in my videos before, the only get-rich-quick scheme is selling a get-rich-quick scheme.
Exactly.
This next talking point I was actually encouraged to include by our friend Doug Brooks. And this is the idea of MLM as direct selling. Now, the stats show that direct selling, a person selling a product or service directly to another human being and earning a commission, accounts for around 1% of all sales made in North America. If MLM was in fact just direct selling, like a lot of people in the industry claim. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, my wife, she's in a direct selling company. They won't say it's an MLM company. They use these terms sort of. And in the past, when people were hurt by an MLM company, they didn't have any sort of recourse. They had no one they could go to. They had no forum that they could talk about it on. And I think now with the internet, I've seen it on Instagram, so many people that have left MLM companies really find comfort and are able to channel their grief into humor by making fun of and laughing at this thing that they were a part of. I've had people where I've been on group chats, video chats with them, or live streams, and they say, yeah, you know what? I had a broke mindset. I was a scammer. I admit it. I realized it. And people are able to now see on the outside of it and look back and sort of cringe at what they were doing and use it as a warning sign for others. So in the book, you also talk about...
No, use it as fucking leverage to go get your fucking bag up, bro. Like, fuck all the laughing and I'm embarrassed. Like, nigga, people are human. You know what I mean? Like, we're all trying to make a fucking dollar, my nigga. But, again, with how this shit is set up, these MLMs, like, you're brainwashed to think you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And then in the end, you realize, okay, I fucked up, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to fuck up, but don't sit there and just, I was a scammer this, I was a scammer. No, nigga, go get your fucking bag up. Fuck all that shit. put that to the side and keep fucking moving, bro. You know what I mean? Doing that is only keeping you might as well should have stayed in the fucking company. You know what I mean? Like, fuck all that, bro.
How MLMs misappropriate actual business language to sort of twist what is going on in MLM. And one of the things I thought was really interesting was they use words like sales to describe the cost of recruiting someone. When you join an MLM, if you join, don't join, you have to pay a startup cost to join. This is classified by the company in the eyes of the law as a sale of that product or that starter pack being sold to that next person. But in reality, the cost of those products and the cost of now having the right to also sell the opportunity are inextricably linked. So you're able to disguise what is really the cost of a recruitment as a sale.
Exactly. Yeah. So they've expropriated language.
Which is, but it's legal. And the argument that surely the government wouldn't allow such a fraudulent industry to exist for so long. I will spare you of having, I have
government's a fucking scheme too, nigga. I don't care about what they allow.
A fun,
they allow a lot of shit that we don't want to get into.
Challenge/exercise for us. Okay, we are going to do, if you're up for this, we are going to do a little role play. And in this role play, you are trapped in an elevator with me, and I am very pro MLM. And I'm gonna throw a couple things at you and see what you say. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Robert, you talk about these pyramid schemes and the recruiting structure and all the levels and how it's so unfair and how all the money goes to the very top. But isn't every company a pyramid scheme? You have the CEO, you have the vice president, you have the employees, then all the way down to the janitor. How do you explain that?
That's like saying a bomb shaped in a ball shape is anything that's round is a bomb. So anything that's shaped in a hierarchical architecture like a corporation is the same as a pyramid scheme. So the shape is not what makes a pyramid scheme. It's the fact that the people at the bottom lose and the money's transferred to the top. The people at the bottom of a corporation, there may be many, many of them, they're not fueling the guy at the top. They get paid. They get paid for their labor, for their time. So the two have nothing to do with each other. It's just they happen to look like, they resemble each other so superficially, that's all. In the corporation, you don't pay.
Yes, sir. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is this idea that when we point out the 99% failure rate in MLMs, one of the funniest things that I've heard MLM people say is, well, 99% of all businesses fail. And this is something that is obviously just ridiculous because I looked up a statistic recently and it says for restaurants, which are restaurants and bars, which are one of the most volatile and susceptible business models, they only have a 17% failure rate within the first year. Whereas in MLM, it's 99%. You can comment on this if you like, but I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's just one of those things where, you know, once an MLM gets you in with a morsel of truth, they'll say things that are true. Like, for example, your mindset is important. Then they take this truth and they twist it and stretch it to the point where now they can make you believe anything. And now mindset isn't just the important key in your success as an entrepreneur. Mindset is the key to all success. And all failure comes as a result of a lack of mindset. And so
bunch of bullshit.
It's sort of this way in which MLMs can take an intelligent person and string them along this sort of yellow brick road of false equivalences and flawed logic to the point where they are not actually selling a product or a business opportunity. What they are selling now is self-improvement, which is this commodity that is...
Bro, like, literally, bro. Literally. And I'm going to keep referring back to bitch ass IML, bro. All these niggas do is fucking manifest this, manifest that. Check in. All this dumbass shit, affirmations and blah, blah, blah. Like, nigga, you're selling trading. Right? You're selling buy or sell, not all this extra dumbass mindset shit, bro. Like this shit is facts right here, bro.
Unmeasurable and unquantifiable, and you can always improve more. And that leads back to purchasing more of the tickets to the events to gain more motivation and more of the mindset live
Purchase tickets to go to these fucking events to hear the same shit you hear on Zoom.
stream webinars and books and materials and t-shirts. And we have this pyramid structure with recruiting, but there's even
This is the last time I'm gonna ever address IML again. If I ever mention IML again, y'all check me.
in a sort of pyramid, or rather, I guess, feedback loop in a pyramid shape that goes on in somebody's mind in an MLM.
When I in the book and you referred to it earlier, Marco, about the conversation, the kind of concocted conversation. It was a mixture of many other phone calls that I've had like this.
And the very next thing that I had written down after I talked about mindset was a cult of capitalism. And you perfectly segued into that. So thank you. In the book, you talk about how they perpetrate this cult of capitalism, this economic cult, and how they were almost nudged into that role by society, because sometime after World War II, there was this renaissance of it became
as a metaphor. What's current in the culture.
I'm about to get to the end of this shit, man. Definitely interesting stuff, though.
Robert, what you said perfectly ties into one of the last points that I had written here, which is because of how powerful the cult tactics are, it lays waste to this theory that I sometimes hear online, and it's a heartbreaking stance, which is, I hate MLMs, but honestly, the people who get scammed, let it happen. That's natural selection because they were too stupid or gullible, and so they deserve what happened to them. And in Steve Hassan's book, Combating Cult Mind Control, he talks about how some of the most intelligent people that he's met in his life are former cult members, and they were educated and financially successful before they joined. I've said in my videos before, I think people who join MLMs are not bad people. Largely, I think the only thing that they are guilty of is the fact that they trusted a friend and they had a vulnerability. Who doesn't have a vulnerability? Who doesn't have a why?
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate and very important. I'm asked so often by reporters, what kind of person joins multi-level marketing? First of all, nobody joins. I've never, in all these years, found somebody that, like, what do they do? Go look in the classified ads, or what do they do? Go online and say, oh, there's one. I think I'll join that. How would they know? They don't. They are lured in. They are recruited. Almost everybody is recruited. You don't really join. You're recruited. The second thing is, what kind of person would do that? Well, I always say, tell me somebody that wouldn't do it. Because in the years that I've been looking at this, I have found every kind of person, from clergy, lawyers, accountants, financial planners, military, engineers.
Yep.
I can't tell you. Now, these are people not poor by any means, but they had that vulnerability, as you said. Everybody has a vulnerability, or multiple vulnerabilities. Everybody does. I have an awe of this phenomenon. It is something quite extraordinary to watch. I mean, it has grown to these gargantuan proportions. I have seen how it can captivate an individual on such a powerful level. So it is something to be respected, and to dismiss
The ending of your book just a little bit. Even if it's not part of the official canon, I would like to have an alternate dimension ending to Ponzinomics. And in the end of the book, you talk about how during your multiple decades long, fair enough, I have hoped that things will change. And I thank you for your tremendous decades-long contribution to that pursuit of change. In the future, there will be a day, I believe, where MLM no longer exists and people will read books like Ponzinomics, because I'm guessing it won't just be Ponzinomics 50 years from now. Other people will have written other books, but right now, this is what we have. Reading this book today in 2021 is a chance to read about the biggest con in human history that is still happening today before it has gone away. This is
all right. Yeah. So we coming up on what, 40 minutes on this video. So, that's it, man. That was definitely some interesting topics and knowledge and all of that stuff, man. Like I said, it's all relatable. With whatever company you've been a part of, uh, it all makes sense. You feel me? At the end of the day, um, once you really see like all the fuck shit going on, um, but yeah, man, that's it for this video. Like I said, just wanted to eat and check that shit out. And if y'all wanted to check it out with me, type shit, sit down and watch it with me. But yeah, man, I'm about to go take a shit. Y'all niggas be easy. Love y'all. We out, man.